This is episode 127 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Seena Ghetmiri. Seena is a former dentist turned real estate investor who in 18 months to 24 months went from 0 to 5 mil active under management. And he's been doing a lot on social, which we're going to talk about. Seena, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. What an intro. Hopefully
yeah, really. Hey, look, I read it from your Instagram bio.
I think it was more about the tone and the way you presented it. I like that. Yeah. Every morning that gets me hyped up. I'll get going every day.
Okay. I'll call you every morning at 5 and we'll just get the day started like that. You'll walk out like a champ.
No, I appreciate you having me. I know we were just talking about it offline, but I think you're one of those real ones out there that likes to talk about the real sides of real estate investing, which doesn't seem to be talked about too often. So I'm excited to be here and hopefully share something that can be valuable with the audience.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And again, like that's how I found you. Obviously I got connected with you through Nick, who's been on the podcast. And then I just looked at your content, and I'm someone who studies social media, like I was saying, so I can kind of tell in the real estate investing sphere, which we're going to talk about, what's BS and what's not. And I could tell that you're documenting your journey, from where you've been. And also what's important for people to know, it's transitioning from a specialized career that you kind of thought was going to be the thing. So when did you come to the realization that you were going to move from dentistry to something else? And was it only because of real estate investing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll go high level with it and we can go deeper into any parts because there's a lot there. So high level, like I am a first generation immigrant here. My parents came here and I come from a Persian culture. So sometimes there's some pressure to do something like doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Sure.
And it comes from a good place of, they want you to succeed and new country and things like that. So I felt that early on. And, I was looking around, I saw dentists. I'm like, oh, they golf all the time and they work 3 days a week. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm built for that. Like I can do that. They make a ton of money. Spoiler, it's not as much as you think.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. So I spent my 20s, 10 years between undergrad and graduate school, dental school, getting my becoming a dentist. So I did that, started working for 2 years. And I'm from Seattle originally, went to school in New York at NYU, moved to San Diego after school to start working at a clinic. It was one of those clinics that's like a high volume. So I'm seeing a lot of patients. I was like, oh crap, this is not
good experience, but this is a lot. When we talk about financial freedom, it's not really that, it's time freedom. And what your experience is the freedom to spend more time with your family before, you just had your first child. You don't want to be looking at 15 saying, what happened?
Yeah.
I went through the machinations, but the whole time with my kids when they were younger, even when I was in the art world, my gallery was only open on the days that they weren't with me. And I was flying back and forth for 1 year when we had a whole thing with the 2008 problem and selling houses. But I think it's important. So if people can learn from what we're saying, it's like, it doesn't mean go quit your job right now.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have enough runway to do that, but don't also push down your entrepreneurial spirit. You can figure out how to do it. How did you start to meld the two together? Okay, this is when I'm going to leave. I know you talked about that, but that real estate investing was the vehicle that was going to be it for you.
Yeah. And I'm really glad you brought that up. And this is really important. And I like to stress, like my wife had a business that had good cash flow. So we had the ability to take that quote unquote risk. I would, if I went back, I would do it a lot differently, honestly. But I was just at a point of exhaustion and burnt out, and mix that in with like losing my father. It was just like, I'm ready to go do something else. And I kind of jumped, and that's just my personality to just jump and do it. But I think I would have started blending it in more, kind of like you did of like, well, if I knew what I knew now back when I was making money as a dentist, I would have been buying, 1 rental a year, 2 rentals a year, moving in, moving out after 2 years, kind of play that game. And start the real estate journey that way. I think that's one of the best ways. So for me, we had a mentor who was talking about real estate to us and going over, like I had no idea that you could refinance a house, take the money and put it like, I was like, what? Like, I thought you had to have 20% down and you can't touch it for the rest of it was mind blowing to me.
But I think, you just made a right choice and you use a mentor and person who you had built trust in, which again, now you probably know is the linchpin to real estate. It's who the relationships you build. And if you just spent all your time on that, you'd have way more deals than anyone thinks without like talking to wholesalers.
Yeah, wholesalers they're one of a kind. It's So true. These relationships have gotten us almost every house that we've bought through it being off market or, we can get into how we got into Airbnb was still a relationship. And now we have three like that are cash flowing very well. Like, and it all comes from being around other people doing what you want to do or have done what you want to do. Right. And when you get in these rooms of these meetups and when someone asks like how to get into real estate, I'm like, just go to a meetup.
Yeah,
Go to
I
go
agree.
to some kind of event because you realize everyone else is dealing with the same kind of nerves and the same scary things, and it's not that scary. And even if they've done what you want to do and they're trying to do the next thing, maybe they're trying to buy 100 apartments,
Right.
they're still scared. It
Yeah.
doesn't go away. You just get more confident and you get just more trust in yourself that you're going to figure it out along the way.
Yeah, and I think you get more confidence from being around people who are, not just like you personality wise, but just like you on the journey or one step ahead, one step behind, like you said. And I always think I like meetings to me or like meetups are like almost like a meme because it's like you'll go in and you're like, hey, who's that guy? I think he's just like, oh, he's cleaning something up in the corner. It's like, no, that's Dave. He has 19 units. You're
Yeah,
like,
totally.
what? He's in shorts and a tank top. Yeah, exactly. Because that's the millionaire next door philosophy. Nobody cares. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to present anything like special at a meetup. You're just kind of, talking to other people. How did you know at meetups who was like the people that you could trust over time? Because I think that's people go in, and if you're at the wrong meetup, it
Yeah.
could be just like social media, bunch of hard money lenders. Hey, this is a great deal, 19% and 3 points. Like, oh, that's not going to help. How did you learn that over time?
Oh man, I gave out my email way too many times to wholesalers. Oh jeez.
Yeah, get on that list.
I thought they meant well with their off-market properties, but
Yeah,
not so much. No, it just comes with the territory, right? Any business, not even just real estate, you go to meet up, there's gonna be people that are trying to sell you on something or maybe you don't vibe with, and that's okay.
yeah,
It just takes repetition. And man, I'm even like I remember going to my first meetup before we bought anything when I was in that phase of learning. And I was walking up to it was like at a bar in Austin. I remember this. And I was like, man, I have no properties. I'm just starting out. Like everyone here is going to have a bajillion properties. And I'm going to walk in and be the loser that has none. And I walk in and you just start talking to people. And there's a bunch of people that don't have properties. They're there to just like learn and like
yeah,
connect. And you can just get a genuine feeling from people. So I know that it's not a really tactical answer, but it's a little bit of trial and error of talking and getting the experience of going to meetups. But you end up finding people that are genuine and connected with. And yeah, to this day, I'm still connected to the first person I met at the first meetup. And we
yeah,
actually, he brought me a deal last week that we didn't end up taking, but we're still connected in that way. And this is, 2 years later. So it's
yeah.
just about getting there and getting the experience of talking to people and just being around it. And you'll find the people that you vibe with.
So explain why you decided to go into short-term rentals. We've had a lot of really good short-term rental episodes leading up to this one, so this is going to be another good one to add on to that because I think it's very misconstrued to the just general public or new investors who are watching all the doom and gloom, like, oh, you're not going to do this, it's going to crash.
Yeah.
This is what you're doing now, right?
Yeah. And first off, people have been traveling for a long time. They go on our vacations. Airbnb as a company. Sure, it's new, but the
Yeah,
idea of traveling is not new and it's not going anywhere. I promise you that if it's not Airbnb, it's going to be Google Vacation Rentals or something else that comes out. But I don't even see that happening because
no,
the
but
number.
it really started as different forms of the same thing. There just wasn't websites. When
Right.
I went to Florida, we always stayed in short term rentals and we had timeshares. They were kind of
Yep.
modified versions, not the we're selling you, land in the Everglades. That's
Yeah.
how we did it growing up. It's just the same thing with the shinier, package.
Yeah. And the numbers support that. Like the travel's up year over year. I was just at the airport last week and it is packed, man. Like
Yeah,
it is like
that's why I don't travel.
I can't even move through the airport. I'm like, I don't know what recession they're talking about because it is like busy. You go to restaurants, it's packed. Like people are out and traveling. So that's the first thing. If you're hearing all that, like there's a reason behind it. So yes, Airbnb has changed as it's becoming more professionalized. So
Yeah,
3 years ago, you can throw up grandma's couch and like the furniture that doesn't really match, and you'll probably do pretty well. These days, you better come to compete because like there's some big boys playing this game. Uh, like there's
yeah,
some big boys and girls playing this game that take it seriously.